Welcome to H2K Infosys. H2K Infosys is a e-verify business based in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. We provide 100% job-oriented, instructor-led, face-to-face, true live online software training programs. It also includes access to Cloud Test Lab with software tools. We provide live project for you to work on. We also provide assistance with mock interviews, resume preparation and review, and job placement assistance. H2K Infosys is trusted by so many students across the world. H2K Infosys provides world-class services in IT training with real-time project work for corporates and individuals, special IT training for MS students in the United States, software design, development, QA manual and automation, performance testing and maintenance, IT staff augmentation, job placement assistance, and tech support.
Install, right? What it does, it goes to this URL, it specifies the user, password, and get the content of it. You could have different targets for start. If you see this target start, what it does, it goes to the specific URL, provides the username, password, and it does start. And for the stop also, you could create a target for it. So anything, it could be achieved, like functionality, it could be achieved as a target in and build.xml file, but the primarily or the necessary targets that we need to have is for the clean, for the build or compile, and for the deployment. Those targets are the mandatory things. Any questions?
What is the difference here, like deploy and deploy war?
Deploy actually copies the folder. When we saying deploy, Balraj, everyone, it actually copies the folder. When we are saying deploy var, what it does, it's bundling that, it's zipping that into a single file, which is sync-app.var file, right? And
Right.
when we start the server, right, the .var file extracts and a folder with the same name gets created. You understand?
Yes.
Here, the deploy target, there is nothing that we're doing. We're just doing a copy. The deploy target, what are we doing? We are just doing a copy from the web directory, which is nothing but the web content folder. We're copying all files from the web content folder. What is the to directory here? It's the deploy path. Deploy path has to be your server deployment directory. For Tomcat, it is web apps. And we're giving the name in which folder it has to copy all those things. That's what the deploy does. What does the deploy var does? It's bundling all the contents of this web content folder into a .var file, and it is copying it into the web app folder. Right? So actually here it is actually doing the creation, and we are copying the var files that are created into the deploy path. Deploy path is the web app folder of Tomcat.
Okay.
Folks, understand the difference between deploy and deploy var? So when we copy the .var file, when we copy the var file, what happens? When we start the server, it gets extracted, right? So copying the var file and starting the server and all those things we have seen when we are learning Spring. It's the same Spring MVC project which I have shared with you folks. I just deleted the Tomcat task. See, the Tomcat installation is not there in MVC. the deploy tasks are also dependent on that. So for running and playing around this using this build file, you already have this build file. It's the same Spring MVC project which I have shared with you. You just need to specify the proper properties here. That's all. Where the Tomcat exactly installed, the URL, the username's passwords, or the JDBC. I mean, JDBC is not needed. Like now we are not doing it. But if you want to execute a specific target, you need that information as well. It's the same thing we have used. It's the same build script that we have used, but we haven't discussed this build script when we're discussing Spring.
So Neha, do we need to install any specific tool for the Ant?
Actually, Eclipse actually comes with the plugin and Maven this thing. But if at all you want to do it from the command prompt, we have to download Ant. And when we are using Maven, we have to download Maven as well. But usually we have the plugin that comes right away with Eclipse, that comes with Eclipse. And if you have already run the Spring and all those things, you have seen yourself that you are able to run it without any installation, because Eclipse itself has an inbuilt plugin for it.
So it will automatically install. We don't need to.
Yes, it internally have the Ant plugin, because when I'm doing it, it is executing it, right? I didn't install Ant physically in my box.
Okay.
So for every one of you, have you tried running and deploying the Spring MVC project? Okay, every one of you, and you just try doing this. If you're not able to, if you say something that not recognized or something, folks, please let me know. I think I should be able to help you. If you already tried it, it works because the latest version is the Kepler version. When you go to Eclipse and download the Eclipse for Java EE developers, it has the plugin for both Ant and Maven. It's inbuilt plugin for both Ant and Maven. Folks, we don't really notice it, but when we see the Eclipse folder, right, it has some folder called as plugins. And it has, many inbuilt plugins. We usually don't, have an eye on it, but these plugins include Ant and Maven as well. Okay, any questions in this Ant build script?
So in this case, like the deploy var, we can deploy on any server from server. It don't care Windows, Linux.
Any server.
Or
any
Linux.
server. What we need to do is provide the path correctly here. The deploy path, we have to provide correctly here. If you want to put it in a WebLogic, you have the path of it, right? The deploy path, it could be different for different servers and it could be different for different machines. I might have the Tomcat installation in C Tomcat, right? So you might have it in C program files Tomcat, right? What we exactly need to specify is the properties correctly, right? See, that is the reason we have the properties defined and we use it. So that if I share this code to you, okay? If I share this product to you, you just need to modify this properties and everything else works for you, right?
Right.
And if at all, if you want to migrate from Tomcat to WebLogic, we just specify the path and we don't need to tweak it, tweak it more, right? The migration is a different, it's a level higher and there will be different things that we consider when we're doing a server migration. But in general, folks, it's not like I'm sharing it with you. What happens usually is there are different environments for development, QA, right? The boxes or paths, it could be different for different things. So we don't want to go and tweak the build.xml file on specific boxes, on DevBox or QA or the production or staging. What we change or what we keep specific to the box is the build.property file, and this build script is the same across environment. That is the way how we have to maintain it. That's the reason even when I share the project with you, you will be able to, make it up and running just by changing this build.property file and nothing else. So any other questions before we jump on to Maven? Okay.
Question.
Yes,
Basically, while deploying, we're not deploying it from our machine. It's always from somewhere from Subversion or some repository servers. So basically, if my code is on, like, for deployment, if I'm doing a deployment, what I'll do, I'll just check out from Subversion, then bundle it up and just put it on server. So
Yes.
how can we use Subversion? How can we pull the code from Subversion in Ant?
See, usually we have to specify a different commands for doing the checkout, right? And
Okay.
after the checkout, where do you have it? I think in the Linux we have like the CO command to do the checkouts and all that, right? So we do the checkout in a specific folder, and depending on that, we specify the proper build directory on where the script should look up for the Java file and where it should bundle it and everything.
Okay.
And usually we don't we usually configure through some tools like Jenkins or Hudson, right? So which actually has like the provision to specify the repository, do all the configurations basically. If you are talking it from the perspective of the continuous integration, we use like tools like Hudson or Jenkins. They are one and the same. People say it's like, the developers who have built Hudson just copied it to Jenkins. So we use those kind of tools when we are doing continuous integration. It's not just achieved with the Ant script. We have like, sophisticated tools to achieve that.
Okay.
Did I answer your question or?
Yeah. Actually, I know one task, like execute task. I thought like that's how we can do it to pull it from Subversion. I don't know about Jenkins.
Okay, you're asking for something.
Like I'm not asking. I'm not talking about.
Here itself in the build script, if you want to do a checkout, right?
Yeah, so that's.
Yeah, from the SVN, we have the SVN itself. We have an SVN tag itself to do that. We set with username, password, we check out like something. Let me just you have like you could specify different target. Let me put it here. Yeah. I have used it. I'm not sure where it's showing now. You have the SVN, and how it goes is inside this SVN we have to specify the username, for you to log in, and the password. And I think inside it we have to check out to do a checkout. And this checkout takes an URL from where we want to actually do the checkout, and it has a destination path. I don't remember exactly. It's a complete destination path or GEST path. We actually specify it. It's something like that.
Okay.
For the exact syntax, you could just Google it, but this is what I remember that you have the SVN itself to do with specific with that. It has some tasks to do that.
Okay.
But it's like for legacy projects which have built like long back in years, they actually do that, Manoj. But yes, there is way from Ant you could do a checkout. But usually when we are using for, we use like some kind of tools like Python or Jenkins. Actually, those are used for continuous integration. Means we specify the repository. Okay, I do a checkout from here, and after the checkout, execute this specific build steps, and we could have like the write-on steps or configure like that. So usually you don't. There will be separate build engineers to write and configure those things. Folks, any questions? I'm gonna just do some googling. I think it's something similar to this.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah. So the exact syntax. And folks, the another prominently used build tool is Maven.
Can you explain one more time what's the difference between deploy and deploy var?
Okay, deploy actually copies the web content as a folder. The contents of the web content folder, it copies into the web app folder of Tomcat with Spring App name. That's all. But the deploy var, the contents of the web content folder, it bundles into a var file and it copies that var file to the web app folder. You understand it? Folks, everyone, are you clear with the deploy and deploy var?
So Neha, sorry, go ahead.
I'm good.
Okay.
So Neha, do the deploy or call that deploy internally?
No. It's doing a copy. In deploy var, we don't need to do we don't want to copy the folder, right? When one target calls internally is depending on the attribute depends. When you have depends, that specific target is internally called. Deploy var doesn't call deploy. If I say here deploy, right, then it does.
Okay. And here you mentioned source 1.5 and the target 1.5. That's the JDK 1.5, or what that means, like 1.5 means here?
The source version. It's the JRE version that we are using, 1.5 or 1.6. It's just the JDK. What do you want to use for the compilation actually? Let's say if I'm using 1.4 and if I'm using generic, the 1.4 does not recognize generic, right? So when I'm using generic, I should at least specify 1.5 or higher, right? That is the source version I'm using. So saying, this is in the code is written in this specific version.
What about this debug?
Actually, during the compilation, we could actually specify some breakpoints to check it out.
Okay, so if you are putting this true, that means it will go on that breakpoint while
yes, it's wait and do all that. And fail on error is equal to true, and like if there is an error, you want to stop it or you still want to proceed with it.
And we can run the test cases also. Can we run test cases on?
Test cases with Ant is very difficult. I don't say it's very difficult because it's the one which has been used. So we have to write target, triggering the the specific suit, and we have to write targets to actually do that.
It's kind of Java target because it's like
this is in a target you could have an execute task to execute something, right?
Okay. No, I'm asking we have Java C here. It's something like Java to run a class or something like that.
So we actually use the execute command to execute the suit. That's how we usually do. We create a test suit and we execute it using the execute command. We just put it. No. Could you ask your question?
Okay, so what I was trying to ask, like if I want to run a Java program, what I'll do, I'll just compile it first and like from a command prompt. I'll put a Java
Yeah.
C, compile it, and then put a Java and run the whatever file I want to run. Is that the same here we can do?
Yes. It's the same way that we do here as well.
Okay, it's kind of
We're doing the same thing, but we're doing it through script. That's all.
it's kind
Right?
of similar like shell scripting. I think that
Yes.
is somewhat difficult.
I mean, any script, it's just, I mean, you could achieve anything with the script. We just call them as build scripts because using the scripts, we actually do the building, deploy, and all this. That's why we call them as build scripts. See, when you want to achieve something, if you're manually doing it or achieving with script, you should be doing the same steps, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so even when you're like executing this, as I said, you have one target to build, you have one target to run it, and you have a target which just triggers it. Right? Same is what we do. We have as you mentioned, we use the Java C to compile and Java to run, right? So same is what does.
So many of our students have given testimonials on how our training programs are. You will find them on kudzu.com and on our website h2kinfosys.com. On our website h2kinfosys.com, you will also find more detailed information on who we are, the courses that we offer, what each course covers. Also, if you're interested in a demo program, please register on our homepage on the left-hand side. Just give us more information about yourself and we will send you a link for a demo class. The demo class is absolutely free. Experience our commitment by just attending an orientation workshop at no cost. Our team of faculty and advisors are here to guide you with the right information. If you still have more questions, please feel free to call us. Call us at 770-777-1269. This is a United States number. If you're calling from the UK, call us at 020-337-17615. You can also email us at training@h2kinfosys.com or h2kinfosys@gmail.com. Thank you for watching our videos. We wish you a great career in information technology.